Good evening, everyone. After a long weekend, I'm finally sitting down and having a moment to catch my breath and talk about the protests, the no patriarchy protests, and that was worldwide. And that was something I wanted to talk about. So I wasn't sure I was going to go, but I did. And I felt like it was my civic duty to go. It had a very similar feeling to having to vote, like making your voice heard. Whether or not it counts, and in today's context, you're never sure if that even counts, going out to vote. But it was like you have to. And I know there's people who couldn't because of mobility issues, whatever issues. But even those people with wheelchairs and walkers and such, all age, everyone was there. So anyway, I had to work the night before, and then I had to work after. So, and then today, and I've had a long string of work again as usual, and I was tired, and I thought, gosh, this is my morning off. But I just felt like it had to be done. Like as I said before, every last two in Whoville had to go out and do this thing, because it counts. It counts in the universe, and it counts in for the eyes that are watching. So I went, and it was cloudy. It was very overcast, but luckily it wasn't hot. So, and it was hot this whole week. It was hot, but yesterday it was nice. It felt like fall finally. And so I go alone and park, and I have to walk forever, basically. Finally get there, and as I turn the corner and see this big hillsides, like several rolling hillsides, a mass, like I said, a sea of people. And I was like, my God, I mean, I had chills went up and down my body. And I don't know if that was me just feeling like the high energy of like spirit being around. That's what I feel like. When you're everybody's in their highest intentions and their connection to source. I really am doing the right thing and being there in love, and a high intention of love and unity. I really felt that's what I felt. And it's like, my God, look at this. Everybody's here. So many people. And it wasn't just the physical count of people. It was, yeah, that feeling, but it was the honking of the cars going by, the people who couldn't get there, who had, other things in life, and just the show of support in every way you can think of. It was almost like the entire world was saying, and the community was saying, we all agree on this. This guy has to go. Should not be there in the first place. And we're talking about 45. And yeah, everybody was in agreement. We love each other. We love this country, and we're not going to let this guy destroy our unity, our country, our freedom, our Constitution, our flag. And so go in there and go up on the hillside, look over. It was like a moderate, but feeling of going to Woodstock is what it felt like. Yeah. So anyway, took pictures, videos, and listened to the speakers. There was a poet laureate. Everybody was there talking about immigration and LGBTQ plus issues, and the cops were there, and the cops were peaceful, and they were there to help us and keep order, but to help us. There wasn't any aggression. The honking was just constant. It was this loud feeling support. It was the honking of voices of people being heard. We're all together in this. And what was interesting was, you get the feeling that a lot of people that were there, not a lot, but a certain number of people that were ex-MAGA who have changed, which is what we all would hope would happen. And us, liberal, Democrat, whoever, non-MAGA, we could never get through. We've spent almost a decade trying to get through. Family members, friends, etc., neighbors. And finally, people are starting to come around. And they had to stand there and listen to talk about gay rights and immigrant rights and everything else, things that maybe they wouldn't identify with, but we're all together now. Because here's the thing, your right is my right. Fighting for your right fights for my right. And that's one thing, like, Democrats get such a bad rap from the other side because, they try to paint us out to be, I don't know. First, either we're tree huggers, and we're feeding the kids and wasting money, right? We're helping everybody with healthcare, or we're evil and we're not passing, we're allowing shutdowns so that people can't have their healthcare. From everything I've seen, Democrats always come in and they have Head Start to feed the children. They want the health care for everyone. They allocate the money. They keep the money where it's supposed to be. And it's called wasteful, but hello, every country does this. Every good country has money allocated to help the community. And as I've said, it's not socialism, it's social programs. It's not communism, it's community. We live in communities. We're a community. We have to allocate money. Democrats are really good about allocating money. And the problem, as I've seen with a lot of, the second Republicans get in, they take away Head Start. They put religion in, and ironically take away money to feed children. And take away money for education. I've seen it so many times, especially here in Kansas. I've seen it over and over. And Democrats get in and they feed the children. They get the health care. They help the veterans. But there's always that gaslighting that it's Democrats who aren't doing it. It's always Democrats who help the community and care about people. So anyway, some people there maybe heard issues they don't care about, but the truth is, everyone's right is your right. Your right is everyone. If you fight for your own right, you fight for other people's rights, it comes back to you. We're all fighting together. We're all here together. And that's what I loved about the protests. It was really beautiful. And they showed, and the helicopters, like the news helicopters showed up. And I was like, here we go. Because at first I thought, is this news or is this army or whatnot? Are they going to scan our phones? And so I turned my phone off at that point. But it went over and I was like, oh, that's the Channel 9 chopper. And it went over in 6 times for a long time. And I thought, man, this must be such a big crowd that has created a visual for the news. And that's the thing, the news finally broke through. The news finally started to show this and talk about it. And that's what was so important, was that we get out there and we make sure they talk about it. And so that 45 has to look at it. The whole world has to look at it. We are together for America. We're not for him. We're not for cruelty. We want to be here for each other. We don't agree with what he's doing. He stands alone and we stand together. And that's not a mean thing. That's not a hateful thing. It's we stand together and he stands alone. We do not agree with him. We love our country. We don't agree with him. It's not wrong to disagree with the president. And I would even say that he's not even, because I've always heard from Spirit that he's illegitimate. I heard that from the very beginning, and especially this last round, I kept getting illegitimate, but whatever. For entertainment purpose only. But he had to see it. So he saw it. The community saw it. And think about this. Before I get into 45, let me talk about this. So before we got threatened, right? They tried to scare us from going to these protests. And Caroline Leavitt came out, Mike Johnson and others, and the leftists are terrorists and they're Marxists and they're communists and they're hateful and they hate the president and they hate this country and they're violent. I didn't see any of that. I saw everyone peaceful, and there's a lot of humor, like some of the people in inflatables. I saw a king and queen, I saw like a dragon, I saw a dinosaur and a pig and everything, and the humor. There was a lot of humor, sarcasm of, yeah, we're bad people, but look at what do bad people look like this? I mean, it was kind of that feeling of when you go to a Renaissance festival and there's a lot of that humor against the king. And that's what's interesting. That's really interesting, because kings do seem to bring out that sarcasm in people of like Monty Python-ish. I don't know, if you've ever been to a Renaissance festival, you've seen that. It's a very satirical, responses from people of, "Oh, Your Honor," "Of course, Your Honor," and then like the minstrel, the joker that walks around making jokes about people. It's interesting that that came out, and we're starting to see that same type of humor of humanity laughing in the face of tyranny, while they laugh in the face of love. To make a joke at a king is like the most effective thing you could ever do. It really is. And that's what we're seeing. It's very creative, and I love it. So I try to keep myself together here. Okay, yeah, they tried to scare us, and then the whole thing. Oh, I'm gonna send bombs over the bridge in California, so you'll have to shut down the bridge. And Midas Touch reported that, and then they said, no, that's not true. It was true. And it kind of went back and forth, but it was true. 45, in this typical way, just like he sent the jets to scare and drown out the Epstein women when they told their stories, the victims. Well, Josh shows a lot of guilt, doesn't it? Because he didn't have to do that if he was innocent. What was he trying to hide? Anyway, it was that type of misuse of power and trying to silence people and trying to scare people. So I'm going to shut down an entire bridge and threaten to bomb you. Well, that looks like something a tyrannical king would do, doesn't it? It really does. And so I don't know what happened in California with that, if people missed out because they couldn't even get across a bridge. But it was just that feeling of leading up to this, of scaring us, that there would be violence, not from us. They were saying we were violent, but that we would have violence, and the optics of everything we've seen in the last certain number of months of being beaten into submission by various entities. Yeah, there's a lot of that fear mongering to make us stay home and stay quiet, which is very abusive and very tyrannical. And going there, it was just peaceful. I didn't see any threat. I just felt we all came together, and it was beautiful, really. So, but I will say this, I did notice a lot of an older crowd, and I imagine that people didn't want to bring their little kids, and a lot of people in the ethnic community wouldn't want to show up. And also, that's something we said, yeah, we got this, like the people who aren't brown skinned, we'll do this because we don't want you to be at risk. But even then, I saw all demographics, and it was good. It was good. We're standing up for each other. The demographics that they said are MAGA, I saw they were there in the community. Anti-MAGA, which would be pro-peace and pro-democracy. Anyway, so 45. So what does he do? They ask him about mass, not just here in America, all over the world. Even in Greece, they had protests, anti-patriarchy protests, and so they asked 45, and he said, "So what?" But it got to him. Here's the thing: it was big enough and visual enough for him to have to acknowledge it. And what did he do after that? So we wake up in the morning, right? We wake up Sunday morning, and what do we see? He's posting crazy videos of him with crowns, him and JD Vance. By the way, the AI picture of 45 and JD Vance wearing crowns, like owning it. Okay, so he's a king, so what? Right? That's what they're saying. So he's a king, so what? Deal with it. I'm your king. You're going to have to deal with me. So you admit it. A couple days ago, you said that we were crazy calling you a king. So anyway, by the way, in that AI, he's wearing a female crown. They're wearing queens crowns, the crown of a queen. They don't know what they're doing. And the other thing, as you've all seen and heard, is 45 with the AI. We think it's AI. It could be real. Flying a plane like he really knows how to fly a jet, and dumping shite all over us, America, basically. Most people, the majority, dumping shite all over us. So instead of listening to us and hearing our complaints and changing and become better, because he doesn't need our votes anymore, right? So he's doesn't have to cater to our wants and wishes and needs, because he's got it locked in. He's changing the Lincoln bedroom, and and ripping up the rose garden because he thinks he's staying forever. Um, so yeah, so instead of hearing us and becoming better and helping us, he just posts a video of himself dumping shite all over. So it's like, yeah, that's pretty much why we have this protest, because of that type of mentality and behavior, that you see us as nothing to you. We're just something to be shat on, and that you're better than us. A president is supposed to be serving us, for the people, we the people, by the people, for the people, the people's house, the people's democracy, our constitution. He's acting like a king. I'm sorry, but it's true. Own it. And he is owning it now, but in the worst horrible way, juvenile way. But it got to him. That's my point. It got to him. He had to acknowledge it. He's showing that his thin skin, it got to him. And J.D. Vance too, it got to him. The people aren't happy. And instead of meeting our demands and changing, they are acting like fools, basically, and showing us that we're right. We're right. Our assumptions, our calculations, our observance is right. Here's the other thing I really loved about all this was that because the cops stood, I saw videos where the police and who else, National Guard, who else, walked with the protesters, protecting and standing with the protesters. That means they're not they're not siding with 45. And that was something he noticed. Let me tell you, he noticed that. That was if for nothing else, that was really important for him to see that almost everyone is against him. That we're all standing together and he's alone. So, will it change anything? Yes, it'll have to. What I would like to see is the world stop catering to him. I know we have to do bargains with the world, bargaining and all the negotiations with the world, but really stop sending leaders over here to kiss his A. It feels like a betrayal. Stop inviting him to your fancy dinners, in your country and rolling out the red carpet. It shows that you're kissing his A while we have people children are going to go hungry at Thanksgiving, but at any time, Thanksgiving is going to be, I said this, I don't want to be right. I didn't want to be right. But I did say months ago that Christmas was going to be bad, and it was going to be when everyone's eyes finally opened, because, what are we used to in America? Black Friday, right? And then Christmas shopping and going out to eat, entertainment, the gifts, overspending, maxing out the credit cards, the food. Food is a big thing at Christmas, but mainly for get toys for children and gifts and traveling. We're not going to have any of that. It's going to be very moderate. We'll have the home at the hearth Christmas is what I just heard, which can be really beautiful. Okay, so we are going to go without. It's going to be rough. The thing about children being hungry, though, that's really upsetting, but I do feel we're going to come together. But it's going to open up everyone's eyes. Christmas is really going to show, because my point being, people are accustomed to having a certain type of Christmas. They worked all year. They feel like they deserve it, a certain type of, buying a ton of gifts, big Christmas dinner, family travel, etc., etc. That's not going to happen. It's severely. And then you look at him with all his money that he's taken from us, and then shipping off to influence other countries to help him, 40 billion and more, 20 billion lost to Doge and more. Where's all our money? They're saying, people are saying, well, I'm not going to pay taxes next year. We won't be able to. We're not going to be able to pay taxes. But yeah, it would be stupid for it. I'm not saying you shouldn't pay your taxes. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that people won't be able to, because you're going to have to eat right now. So it's kind of stupid of him to think that everyone's going to be able to pay taxes next year. So he's not going to have any money, but then it's going to illuminate how he's getting money in weird channels like pump and dump, Bitcoin, insider trading, and foreign money that he's getting, because you notice how 45 and others always seem to have this weird flow of cash. Like, it doesn't make sense. Well, you know, maybe this will illuminate when he's done wasting all our money, our tax money that's supposed to go to our communities and back to us. When that's all gone, I think that it's going to become really clear that he's got some shady money flow going on. Anyway, so now what do I think? Okay, how do I feel about him right now and this week? 45 this week. I feel like it hurt him in a narcissistic way as usual, and we're gonna have to see some stuff this week that's not going to be pleasant, but it's all leading as usual to the, just keep uncovering the narcissist. It's not a happy time, really, but it has to be that way, doesn't it? We didn't do the recounts like we were supposed to do. We should have stood up for Kamala. We didn't do it. And so we're told, it's like we took the route less taken, right? And it's a longer route. It's harder to get through, but we're going to get there. And we're getting there together. We're all starting to come together. And again, he stands alone. Now, Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is just, he won't sign in this congresswoman, right? And I feel like he's going to have to. I feel like he's run out of excuses and he's finally going to have to. I almost see like a witch hunt with the torches and them up to his office door. And he's like quivering in his office. And he's like, help, help. Now, he's going to say it's like an insurrection. It's not. And that's not going to happen by